Good afternoon, and welcome back to CNU Talks Live at Lunch. I'm Grace Charlin, class of 2021, and your Assistant Director of Alumni Relations, and I will serve as our moderator today. The Live at Lunch series is brought to you by the Christopher Newport Alumni Society and your Office of Alumni Relations. These talks have brought our Captain for Life community a variety of people, stories, and experts. We've had coaches, professors, and alumni all sharing about their incredible work, and we hope to continue to bring forth topics that speak to both your hearts and minds. Some of you may remember that last January, when the Live at Lunch series began, we had the pleasure of hosting President Kelly as our very first speaker. So we are honored today to welcome back President Kelly as our guest to talk with us about our newly shared strategic compass for Christopher Newport University. He will begin today by talking with us about our strategic compass and how it is guiding us towards Christopher Newport being the nation's premier regional public university, and how we as alumni can support that mission. As you have questions, please type them in the Q&A area down below. Once President Kelly is ready for those questions, I will go through them for as long as time allows. This session is being recorded and will be shared out with you, our Captain for Life community, to view again at another time. With that, I turn the mic over to our sixth president of Christopher Newport University, William G. Kelly.
Grace, thank you so much. And Grace and Baxter, thank you for coordinating this opportunity. And I'm just thrilled to see how it's grown and developed over time. Baxter, I think you and I talked about this over almost 2 years ago, and you brought it to life. And it provides us an opportunity to engage with our Captains for Life, be transparent about the work that we're doing on campus, and also be informative. And I thank all of our alums, all of the friends of the university who've tuned in today. It gives me the opportunity to reach out to a broader audience, broader spectrum of folks who love and support this university, and my wife Angie and I have come to love as well. And I'm just thrilled to be with you this morning. So my hope is that we can spend a couple minutes and I can share some perspectives on our new strategic compass, our new strategic plan, where that came from, what the genesis of it was, and most importantly, what we will be working on and dedicated to over the next 5 years, but really into the future. And I really look forward to your questions and the opportunity to engage with alums. That is some of the best things I get to do on a day-to-day basis, week in and week out. It's an exciting moment in CNU's history. As we continue the evolution of this great university, the #1 regional public university in Virginia, and the #3 in the South. And you'll probably hear me say that once or twice more throughout the day. But also today is Dr. Bob Colvin's last lecture. So tonight he will be the guest speaker for PLP, and we framed that as Dr. Bob's last lecture. And Dr. Bob had such a critical role in developing the compass, having a steady hand on the helm, if you will, and guiding this effort forward. So much kudos goes to him for everything that he's done for CNU over the past 20 plus years, 25 plus years. And Bob will be with us through the end of December as he continues to shepherd this effort and others in the coming weeks and months. And I'd be remiss if I didn't start by giving him a shout out. Bob invited in, and in his recommendation, we invited in alums to be part of this opportunity. And so if there's any of those alums that are on the phone today, I thank them for their efforts and their contributions. We probably had over 150 graduates, staff, faculty, alumni, friends of the university, literally putting their hands on this document that I have the privilege of sharing with you today. So, Grace, if we could go to the next slide, that would be great. And you've probably seen back one, Grace. You've probably seen this individual before. This is Christopher Newport. There's some who would like to see the hook on his hand. Dr. Bob actually, interesting tidbit. Dr. Bob did some research on where Christopher Newport actually got the hook from, and he said it was a secondhand store. So good research by Dr. Bob, but also one of Bob Colvin's, kind of corny jokes. So thanks for letting me start off with a really bad joke, and hopefully we'll go up from here. But when it came time to look at where we were going to go as a university, obviously I am following the footsteps of a legendary leader who built this university and provided me the keys to really an amazing campus that is so impressive, amazing culture on campus, and a commitment to excellence that permeates all that we do. So I think President Tribble and his wife Rosemary for that. But as we came in, I tried diligently to listen and learn during my first 6 months. I think I did a pretty good job of that. And what I saw was a lack of vision about where the university was going to go. And if you think about our history, at least over the past maybe 5, 6, 7 years, there's been a lot of transition. There's been the presidential surge, an interim president, Miss Adelia Thompson did such a great job in that role, and then Paul's final year or two, COVID, all of that. So there was an opportunity there, and so as we came together as a cabinet, as a senior leadership team, we said, hey, the time is right to invest in developing a strategic plan for the university. And so I come with my nautical roots from the Coast Guard after 36 years, actually after 40 years in uniform, thinking about Christopher Newport and our namesake. And I thought, it kind of came to me, I forget, maybe on a run or something like that. Maybe it's the strategic compass, right, to guide our way. And so if you think about Christopher Newport, he led the expedition that came to up the James River to settle at the Jamestown settlement. 3 vessels, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery. And believe it or not, they left London in 1606, in December of 1606. Now, I would just offer to you, I've sailed across the Atlantic. Don't do it in December. Don't do it in a roughly 60-foot vessel with 70 people on board, with very rudimentary tools. The tools that he navigated with were a lead line to identify the depth of the water. He had what was called a quadrant, which was a forerunner to a sextant, to identify positions with the sun and stars. He had an hourglass that they would utilize once they got away from land to monitor the time, because as you move west, right, the sun obviously rises later and sets later. So they would find local apparent noon, the highest point of the sun at any point in time, using the quadrant. They would set the hourglass to that, and then that would run and give them a sense of time. And most importantly, he had a compass. He had a compass that guided them westward, southwestward, to the mouth of the James River. And we've all used a compass before, and we know it never stays on a straight line, right? It bounces back and forth a little bit. And what I thought that provided us with our strategic plan is, a strategic plan doesn't go from point A to point B to point C to point D, right? It goes along a track, hopefully taking you in a direction. And as we work through our strategic planning process, we really identified that there were 4 key directions that we wanted to go into. And Grace, if you would go to the next slide, what I would offer is, as we work through the development of the strategic compass, we also looked at our vision. And what we found was the vision statement that we had was good, right? And we were probably living into it, but it wasn't succinct. It wasn't something that we could talk to different groups about. And I use it now when I talk to prospective students, and I appreciate the opportunity to share it with you today. But our vision is what it says here on the paper. We are anchored in excellence in all that we do. You know that, you see it. We report out on it constantly. Not only are we anchored in excellence in the way our beautiful campus looks, I get to look out through the window right now on the great lawn and see the students hanging out there on a beautiful spring day. But we're anchored in excellence with our commitment to winning on the field, on the court, in the classroom. And I hope you've been paying attention to some of the successes that our faculty have had just recently with regards to our Carnegie classification, for the research efforts that we do, student-led research that we have, and how Carnegie views that. We've had 3 of our professors rated by Stanford University as the top 2% of all science and engineering scientists worldwide. Over 60,000 faculty members were evaluated, and 3 of our professors rate in the top 2% of that. We know that our President's Leadership Program, PLP, our students go off and they win those competitions against national and international schools. And obviously, we see the success of our sports teams on the athletic fields. We are so very proud of all of them. But I think you would agree with me that what makes us special and what's made us different since that first class started on September 18th, 1961, is our commitment to our students. It's our faculty. And so we are a student-centered university. We are students first, and we are students always. And I think that makes us special and different. But we also aspire to be the #1 regional public university in the nation. And I believe we have everything in place from a faculty and staff perspective, from a facilities perspective, and great students coming in and the support of our alumni to do just that. And so I think that was part of our vision. And I think it's something that we can attain. But we'll attain that by staying rooted in the liberal arts. The liberal arts are our foundation. I think our provost says it best. He says that we graduate our students with 2 degrees. One is a degree in the liberal arts, and the other is a degree in whatever they choose to pursue. And we know that over 50% of our graduates graduate with a STEM degree, and the other 20% graduate with a business degree. So over 70% of our students graduate with either a STEM or a business degree, but all of them graduate with a foundation in the liberal arts. And you know from your experiences that we desire employees, we desire graduates who can work with each other, communicate in the written and spoken word, can be part of a team, can solve complex problems, and can get to yes at the end of the day. And I truly believe that we do that with our students day in and day out, and we prepare them to walk across that great lawn and graduate here on May 17th and go out into the world and do that. But they'll do it with a foundation, a bedrock in our core values: honor, scholarship, service, and leadership. You know, our honors convocation is such a special part of this. I actually have my penny right here on my desktop. And I am honored to be part of that tradition. But I think it's essential to who we are and what we do and how we demonstrate respect to each other. And we do that through all of the traditions that we have here. Service is a key component of what we do, not only on campus, but off, you know that, and our scholarship is exceptional. And I think if you think about leader development, not just in the PLP program, but across our campus, we do it through our commitment to honor, our dedication to service, and our commitment in the classroom to scholarship, which allows us to develop great leaders who can then go out and live a life of significance. So we have redefined our vision, but I hope this vision isn't different than what you experienced as a student at Christopher Newport University, because we want to be true to our history and our heritage. And then Grace, if we can go to the next slide. So that led us into our compass. And we have 4 key points that I'll share just a little bit about, and I really look forward to your questions this afternoon. So we have 4 compass points. And the very first one is advance the power and promise of an education embedded in the liberal arts. And I spoke to that a little bit already, but we're not going to waver from our commitment to the liberal arts. You know, the liberal arts, depending on who you listen to and what you read, can sometimes get poo-pooed. But I don't think folks actually are understanding what we talk about here at Christopher Newport and how we focus on the liberal arts. In fact, there's been a couple articles that I've been reading lately, one from the University of Arizona and one from Virginia Tech, about how they're reinvesting in the liberal arts because they recognize their engineering graduates may not have all the skills that they need to be successful. They're great engineers, but can they work with others? Can they communicate? Can they solve complex problems? Can they get to yes? And advancing the power and promise of the liberal arts is something that we are committed to. Dr. Dean Guajardo was the leader of this group, and I'm very appreciative of her work. And you can pull it up on our website, or you can click on the QR code to learn more about the goals and the priorities within each of these compass points. I'm not going to dive too deeply into those today, but if you have a question, we can go there, or you can dive into the website. So we'll go to the next one, which is connecting with our community. I just came back. We had a small bus load go down to Bethel High School to connect with our community. We are a regional public university, and part of being a regional public university is ensuring that we serve the region in which we live. And this is a vibrant region. It's an interesting region. It's split by, like we said, the James River and the Chesapeake Bay on the south side, and then Hampton Roads, the peninsula, Hampton and Newport News and York County on this side, and getting to ensure that we engage that entire community is critically important. So I've really tried to push myself out into the community as much as I can, especially over the past year. I've elevated Tom Kramer into a position of external affairs. Tom was our legislative affairs person, but we recognize we need to engage more with our community. And Richard Long, our new VP for University Advancement, is a Hampton kid, if you will. His dad was in the Air Force, and Richard is helping us connect with some of the contacts that he has just organically in the community, but more importantly, getting out and engage with the community. So as I said, we just came back from Bethel High School. We need to serve our local communities, the high schools, both here in Newport News, through the Community Captains Program and others, and then Hampton as well, to be the hometown university. But we're also blessed with the Torgler Center, we're blessed with Ferguson, with the Diamond Concert Hall, with the amazing facilities that we have on our campus, as well as the talented faculty. So how do we invite folks in, but also press out into the community so that we can accomplish our service core value, right? Serving our community. How can we share the talents that we have on our campus, both students and faculty, to support the community and doing things that they need to do to enhance the quality of life for all of our residents. You know, we recognize that in the course of the fall or the spring, we infuse literally millions of dollars worth of revenue into our community through the shows at the Ferguson Center, the exhibits at the Torgler Center, and the teams that we host, the colleges and universities that come to our campus as we host not only regular season games, but because we're so successful on the field, we get to host NCAA tournaments, which brings families, which fills hotel rooms, fills up the restaurants, and really contributes to the local economy. So connecting with our community is key. And I could ask Baxter to share with you the op-ed piece that I put in the Virginia Pilot and Daily Press this past weekend. It speaks more to this compass point. So Baxter, if we can make that a point of to-do list, that would be appreciated. So we can go to the next one. So we want to create a stronger culture of inclusion and belonging. We are working really, really hard, and I appreciate all of your support in getting the word out about this university. When I first came here, people said, Bill, CNU is the best kept secret. And for those I've been in the room with before, you probably heard me say, I don't want to be the best kept secret. Why would we not share this amazing institution as broadly as we can? As I sit here today, we are 2,100 applications over the highest number of applications we've ever received. So we have 2,100 more students who've applied to Christopher Newport University this year than they ever have before. We are hoping, we are praying, we are working very diligently to ensure that we yield an amazing class. So we've provided the access, now we need to provide the affordability. And when those students arrive on campus, we need to make sure that they feel like they belong here. We work so hard to recruit a class. Why would you want to lose them? So retaining our class is critical. We retain 96% of our freshmen from the fall semester to the spring semester. That is a great number. I'm sorry, 94%. It's 11% above the national average, which is 83%. That's a phenomenal number and a testament to the commitment that we have to creating a culture of inclusion and belonging. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that there are some headwinds right now with the things that are coming out of Washington, D.C., coming out of Richmond, and some of the rhetoric that we hear out in the press. And there's also some guidelines that we have to follow, and we will comply and follow all of the guidelines, both from Richmond and from Washington, D.C. But there's also a lot of stuff, if you will, for lack of a better term, that is out there in the press that's creating some concerns on campus. Are we going to waver from this? And I would offer to you, if you want to take a deeper dive, both on what you see on the screen and what you can see on our website, we're talking about inclusion and belonging. We're talking about making sure that each and every student feels like they're included on this campus, feels like they can belong here, and feels like they can be successful here. And I will offer to you that my goal is to ensure that Christopher Newport University is the most inclusive university in the state of Virginia. And I believe it's part of our DNA. That's who we are. And I think it's truly an accomplishment that we can achieve. Let's go on to the final compass point. We want to build the foundation to thrive. And this I'm going to speak directly to our alumni as I work through this. But I believe there's three pillars. We like our pillars here, our columns. And there's three columns that support this. The first and foremost, it's ensuring that we have the enrollment so that we can sustain what we need to do going forward. So I ask for your continued help in getting the word out, right? So that's pillar number one, ensuring that we reach out and enroll a hearty class each and every year to keep our university on the track that it is and provide that access and affordability to students, not only across the Commonwealth, but beyond. I mentioned earlier about our enrollment, our admissions numbers. From an application perspective, we've actually doubled the largest number of applications ever for out-of-state students as well. So the word is getting out to them. I think we've quadrupled our number of international applications, but that number was very low to begin with. So I'm not going to get too excited about that just yet. But we are striving to provide greater access internationally, but most importantly, out of the state to those students in North Carolina, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Tennessee, that kind of surround Pennsylvania, that surround us, and those students can come here. But building that enrollment, pipeline is the first pillar. The second pillar is ensuring that we're environmentally sustainable. We have an obligation to our community. We have an obligation to our environment to be as environmentally conscious as we can. And so we've committed to going greener on our campus. We actually got a $3 million gift from the Redicop Foundation to help us along that line. And that was a gift that literally we say fell into our lap. But it fell into our lap when Ben Redicop, a professor on our campus, and his family's foundation saw where we wanted to go and listened to what we wanted to do. And they stepped forward with really a game-changing gift that's allowed us to start to invest and be more sustainable, which will allow us at the end of the day to be more fiscally sustainable. And we need to be more fiscally sustainable. We need to look internally at how we do business, how we operate, before I ever ask a student or a parent to invest another dollar in tuition. We need to make sure we're doing everything we can to be good stewards of the dollars that we receive from the state, good steward of the dollars we receive on the federal side, and good steward of the dollars we receive for you. And I'd just like to end there, kind of thinking about this. I appreciate each and every one of you who stepped up during CNU Day to contribute to the university. We raised over $600,000. And what I want to share with you is that every single gift counts. The vast majority of the gifts that we received were under $100, but they add up. They add up to a total of over $600,000, and the vast majority of that was for scholarships, both unrestricted scholarships and specific name related scholarships. So your contributions help, and if I think Baxter and Richard could tell you that I really believe that we need to continue to discuss how we can create a culture of support through philanthropic means for this university. Your time and talent is greatly needed and appreciated, but as we go forward and we try to build a university that has a foundation to thrive, and part of that is fiscally, right, stable, fiscal bedrock to be able to build and continue to do the things we need to do, we will need alumni support. And I thank each and every one of you who stepped up during CNU Day and who have stepped up across the span of the year to provide gifts of your treasure to the university that I know you all love. My wife Angie and I made a commitment during this CNU Day to provide a $50,000 unrestricted scholarship so that we can do our part to support this university that we have come to love over the past 2 years and are so thrilled to be at the helm of as we go forward into the future. So thank you for the opportunity to share our vision, share our strategic compass, and now if it's appropriate, Baxter and Grace, I will turn it over and see what questions we might have from our alums and from our friends.
Fabulous. Yes. Thank you so much, President Kelly. We appreciate you sharing this out, and especially how we as alumni can be involved in this mission. A reminder to everyone watching, there is a Q&A box down below. We've got questions coming in, but we'd love for you to also join the conversation, so feel free to send those to us. But we want to start with President Kelly, what do you expect to be the most challenging part of implementing or executing this strategic compass?
Yeah, I think the most challenging part is whenever you engage a small group, a large group, whatever size group it is, and we're over 5,000, right, with our students, our faculty, our staff, and our alums. there's a large appetite to do more, right? To like add new programs on. And so how will we evaluate what we're doing, what we can afford to add, what we need to change the way we do, or maybe what we need to stop doing? And it's always hard to stop doing things. But there are things out there that we probably need to adjust. And I would submit there are some things that we need to maybe step away from. I haven't identified those yet, and I don't want to be the holder of all of those ideas. We have 49 tasks associated with the strategic compass. We are identifying task leads each and every one of those. But my charge to them will be, if you're going to add a dollar, we need to find out how we're going to support that dollar. Now, that support may come from the state, in which case I need to go to Richmond. Others need to advocate on our behalf. That support may come from giving from our alums. It may come from local dollars that we're able to receive from business and industry or the city, whether it's Newport News, Hampton, or elsewhere. We'll need to be creative about where those resources come in, because at the end of the day, the last person we should go and ask for another dollar from is from a mom or dad who are paying, the hard-earned dollars that they've earned or put away for their sons and daughters' tuition. Thanks, Grace.
Yeah, thank you. The next one says, President Kelly, I cheer the notions of inclusion and diversity, but I saw the word equity when I took a deeper dive into Congress. How does equity square with a university where meritocracy is championed?
Well, that's interesting. I think we all have our own unique definition of equity. What I would offer is that not everyone starts from the same position in life, and so your abilities and your capabilities are what will define how far you go. But we also have an opportunity and an obligation to provide to support. We support students each and every day here. Our Student Success Center provides students help, whether that's in calculus, whether that's in the writing center, whether that's with whatever science class they're taking, because not everybody comes to the university with the same set of skills and talents. So when we talk about equity, we're talking about providing the opportunities for students to all be successful. And you will be judged on your success based on the merits of your work, the merits of your commitment, and the merits of your outputs, not on where you may have started from, but how you end. So when we think about equity, what I believe we need to do and what we will do is ensure that we support and lift up all of our students from wherever they're at. I'll give you an example, and maybe this resonates with the group or doesn't, but we have students on campus who have to use wheelchairs to get around. The way we built some of our ramps on campus, it was very difficult for them to get around to do the things we need to do. Should we help them out? I believe we should. I think we actually had to take some bushes out and some things like that so that they were able to get to where they wanted to get to. I see that as providing equitable access to all. I don't see that as a negative thing. I don't see that thing as diminishing meritocracy at all. But I think it provides them an equitable access to whatever the facility or the opportunities that they pursue. So that's my mindset when I think about equity, and where we're at is providing opportunities to ensure that all are successful. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you. Given the directions set forth in the strategic compass, what do you see as CNU's top opportunities over the next 5 years?
Well, I think our top opportunity is to engage our alumni even more fully. We have philanthropic support from our alumni, and about 8% of our alumni are engaged in giving. And I know we have alumni that love this institution, that care about it deeply. But we've never really asked our alumni to fully engage from a philanthropic point. We have at points and times, and I've done as much research on that and talked with Baxter and others about this. But I had an interesting conversation with a student, recent graduate, recently, and I asked her as we were approaching CNU Day, what her classmates, what her recent graduates think about giving to the university. And what she shared with me was pretty heartfelt. She said, "Sir, I can't give a lot right now. And, I don't make a lot right now and I can't give a lot right now. And so my gift of $10 or $25 or $50 doesn't really seem like it matters on campus because we tend to lift up those $100,000 gift, $50,000 gift, $250,000 gifts, and we highlight those. And I thought that really resonated with me and hit home with me because I've known throughout my career, right? I was a military officer. You can look up how much I made. My wife didn't work. She did work. She stayed at home with our two boys and worked her tail off to ensure that they did everything they needed to do. So we had one income coming into the house. We didn't have a lot of money, but we made a commitment back to the university I had the privilege of going to, and it was very small at first, but it was an opportunity to give back, and that was celebrating. And what she shared with me is that she and others of her friend group that really didn't feel like they celebrated the fact that they could give at whatever level it was. So I really think there's a lot more that we can learn there. There's a lot more I have to listen and learn to the group that's on the call here today, and as we get out and about with alums about what we can do for you to encourage that philanthropic engagement as we go forward, and how do we build the base so that folks understand one why we need your support, and I need to communicate that we are a state university. We do get we do get a lot of support from the state, but not all the support we need. We get about 55% of the funding we need to do what we need to do each and every day. So I got to find that elsewhere. And a lot of that comes from the philanthropic support we receive from alums. So I think, Grace, that's really an opportunity. I know Baxter's and you and Baxter and others at alumni are engaged with that. I know Richard Long and I have a lot of conversations on that, and I really appreciate the opportunity maybe over the next year to enter into those conversations so we can learn, why it is that our giving level is where it's at, what we can do to encourage and educate and inform and to support even greater philanthropic support from our alums, because we know that we get tremendous passion and support and their time and talent, and we are greatly appreciative of that as well. So thanks, Grace.
It's great that we are focusing on the Hampton Roads area to make CNU the local university, but are we also going to focus on promoting the university across the rest of the Commonwealth? And thank you for this event, and it's been great to learn about our new strategic plan.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And whenever you do one thing, people are always curious, are you going to stop doing something else? We're not going to stop doing anything else. In fact, tomorrow morning, I'm in a car with my wife driving to Northern Virginia to go to an admissions event tomorrow night. And we've been up there 3 times already, and we'll be going back. I had an opportunity. My college classmate is the head of the Arlington Catholic school system. He asked me to come in and speak to his advancement and admissions folks. So there's tremendous opportunity in Northern Virginia. The challenge there is every other college and university in the country has figured out there's tremendous students in Northern Virginia, and they have set up shop there. Everybody from Northeastern to Alabama, Texas A&M, you name it, they are in Northern Virginia. They are recruiting the same students we are recruiting. They have larger endowments than we do. They are able to provide offers and opportunities there that we are not, but we also are able to provide an in-state great education at the #1 regional public university in the state. So we're proud of that. And the same thing goes in the Richmond suburbs. Getting out to the western part of the state and other areas. Again, we are 2,000 applications up, 2,100 applications up, and I give all credit to our admissions team and to our marketing team, our marketing folks, for getting the word out about this university so that we can encourage them to apply and hopefully come here. So just if you're monitoring it, 1 May is when high school students have to commit. So we're approaching that date. We're about a month out. So we are all kind of on pins and needles a little bit, hoping that we yield the class that we are hoping to get. So thank you again for that question.
So speaking even of yield, someone asked, beyond making a financial gift, what are specific steps that alumni in the community can take to support the compass?
Yeah, that's a great question, Grace. And I think let's take it from start to finish, right? So as we talk about advance, the power and promise of the liberal arts, part of that will be ensuring that we provide internship opportunities, ensuring that we are teaching those things that the students of tomorrow will need. We all know what we needed yesterday. We shouldn't be focusing on that in our curriculum, in our classroom, etc. We need to be focusing on tomorrow. So as we can hear from our alums, as we engage with our alums, let us know what the employers of tomorrow need as much as you possibly can. Continue to provide those great internship opportunities. We're number 7 in the nation for internships. That number is so it kind of blows my mind, but it's so exciting to think that, a public regional like us in the southeastern corner of Virginia is number 7 in the nation for internships. And I give all credit to our alums, to our faculty, and to others, business industry, that provide those opportunities. Folks, really, this. When you get 1 captain, you want 2. You get 2, you want 4. So let's ensure that we continue to do that. Alums can obviously help us there. As we connect to our local community, for those folks who live in the Hampton Roads region, continue to reach out, help us build those bridges. Sometimes it might just be a footpath that we need to put in place, and sometimes it might be that third tunnel in the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, but help us figure out where we can make connections that we may not currently have. So as you think about whether it's internships, whether you think about opportunities with faculty and students to do research, where you think it's about service opportunities, put your university first. I'm certain you do that and allow us to connect. When we think about creating a culture of inclusion and belonging, when alums come back to campus and they engage with students love that. They love it. I know you love it. So when you come back to campus and you engage with students, make them feel like they're valued, make them feel like they're appreciated. We value that. And then as we build, a stronger effort of sustainability on campus, helping us continue to get the word out about this university. Keep telling 2 friends, let them tell 2 friends, share the good news, encourage students to come down and walk on campus. Once we get them here, that mom and dad and the students are going to go, this place is amazing. Let me come back. So keep spreading the word. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks, Grace.
Awesome. We've got 2 more questions for you. So the first one being, when I was a student, there were no teacher assistants in the classroom. Our classes were led entirely by professors. Is that expected to be the case going forward?
Yes, ma'am. We are not backing away from that. One of the things I think that makes this university special is that relationships that our faculty develop with our students almost from day one. You have your core advisor during your freshman and sophomore year, and they help you so much, and you stay connected with them. And then you get into your major, right? When we commit to our major and second semester of sophomore year, and now you have a new advisor, and now you have 2 faculty members that are truly invested in you outside the classroom and inside the classroom. We have the vast majority of our classes have less than 24 students in it. We are not going to back away from that. Again, we are a teaching university, and we're in the process of doing interviews to hire the new dean for the Luter School. We had our first candidate on board yesterday. Our second one's coming on board tomorrow. We'll have 2 more next week, and I want those deans to know that our faculty are what I think they're part of the secret sauce here. They're what make us special and different, and their engagement with our students is not going to go away. So I appreciate that question because I think it's really, really one of the strong points about Christopher Newport.
Absolutely. As a product of all those amazing professors, I am so grateful for them and all those relationships and how we continue to prioritize that. And so now we're going to close out with the last question being, what initiative are you most excited about, President Kelly?
I'm really excited about the all of the initiative of the strategic compass, right? The fact that we have that in place, that as we have conversations on campus, we have conversations in the cabinet, as we have conversations off campus, I can tie it all back to the strategic compass. And because we were so intentional about engaging so many folks. And it wasn't just the president and a couple other folks went to a smoky filled room with a couple pizzas under the door and came out with this strategic compass because it is the community's compass. My sense is, my belief is that the community has embraced this. And as they make decisions, they're saying, well, where does this fit into the compass? Does it fit into the compass? Well, if it doesn't, maybe we shouldn't be doing it. And so I'm really excited about the intentionality that the compass is going to bring literally across our campus, and I hope throughout our alumni base as we go forward. So I appreciate that, Grace. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, President Kelly, and thank you all for being a part of today's session. We will return next month on April 21st, where we're going to be talking about sustainability on campus. And we're going to be doing that with faculty members that actually President Kelly mentioned, Dr. Benjamin Redekop, as well as Dr. Linda Manning, and then Rachel Freeman, who is one of our sustainability ambassadors at the Center for Sustainability here. So we hope you guys will join us then. We will send out that shortly, and we will also send out a recording of this talk today. Share that widely with all of your alumni, captains, and friends. And thank you again for joining us, and we will be seeing you soon.
Go Captains.